Everyone talks about the loud kids who struggled, but no one warns you about the quiet one, the easy one, the kid who never caused problems. Because while everyone else was being noticed, that kid was learning how to disappear politely. No one yelled at you. No one worried about you. You were fine apparently. But here's the plot twist. Growing up unnoticed doesn't make you independent. It makes you hyper-aware, over-responsible, and weirdly uncomfortable when attention lands on you. And somehow, years later, you're still trying to earn the right to exist, without being too much. If this part feels a little too accurate, that's not an accident. You were probably the kid who didn't ask for much. You sensed when adults were stressed and learned to shrink yourself accordingly. You became easy to handle, which sounds like a compliment until you realize it meant no one checked in too deeply. You learned how to entertain yourself, how to solve your own problems, how to sit quietly with big feelings and not let them spill. Now, as an adult, people describe you as capable, calm, and independent. They trust you. They lean on you. But inside, you hesitate before speaking. You rehearse conversations. You worry about being a burden the moment you need something. Asking for help feels heavy. Taking up space feels selfish. Rest feels like something you haven't earned yet. You might even minimize your own experiences. I didn't have it that bad. Others had it worse, right? Still, there's this quiet tension you carry. A constant mental scanning of rooms, moods, and expectations. You're rarely fully relaxed, even when everything is fine. You do a lot for others, but struggle to receive without guilt. You know how to show up, but not how to be held. And the strange thing? You don't feel angry about it. Just tired. Tired of being strong without choosing it. If any of this sounds familiar, it's because being overlooked doesn't leave obvious scars. It leaves patterns. And those patterns follow you into adulthood, long after the child version of you learned that being invisible felt safer than being seen. Here's where things usually go sideways. Most advice aimed at people like you sounds confident, but misses the point completely. It says things like, just speak up more. Stop overthinking. Set boundaries. Be confident, which sounds helpful until you try it. Because when you do try to speak up, your chest tightens. Your thoughts race. Your voice gets quieter instead of stronger. So you assume something is wrong with you. Then you push harder. You force confidence. You over-prepare. You script conversations in your head like you're about to go on trial. And when that doesn't work, you swing in the other direction, productivity. You become dependable, the reliable one, the person who always shows up early and stays late. Not because you love it, but because being useful feels safer than being visible. Here's the mistake. Everyone treats this like a confidence problem. It's not. It's a safety response. You didn't grow up learning that your needs would be met just because you had them. You learned that peace was maintained by staying low maintenance. So when advice tells you to just be bold, your nervous system hears. Do the thing that used to cause discomfort. And it hits the brakes. That's why affirmations feel fake. Why hype videos don't stick. Why fake it till you make it feels exhausting instead of empowering. Because you're not afraid of speaking. You're afraid of the consequences your body remembers, even if your mind can't point to a specific moment. Most advice fails because it talks to your logic, while completely ignoring your nervous system. And until safety is addressed, forcing confidence just teaches your body one thing. That being seen still isn't safe. You're just better at hiding the discomfort. That's the trap. Let's get clear about what you're actually after, because it's not loud confidence or becoming some bold, fearless version of yourself. What you really want is ease. You want to speak without your heart racing, to ask for help without rehearsing an apology, to rest without feeling like you're doing something wrong. You want to feel safe being noticed, not just useful, to be valued even when you're not performing, fixing, or holding everything together. Deep down, the goal isn't attention. It's permission. Permission to take up space without bracing for impact. Permission to have needs without minimizing them. Permission to exist without constantly proving your worth. You don't want to be impressive. You want to be comfortable. And more than anything, you want to know that if you show up as you are, without shrinking, overthinking, or overfunctioning, you'll still belong. That's the real goal behind the self-improvement, the over-responsibility, and the quiet longing you don't talk about. Here's the part that actually changes things, and it's probably not what you've been told before. Overlooked children don't struggle because they lack confidence. They struggle because their nervous system never learned that visibility is safe. That distinction matters more than any advice you've ever heard. Think about it. Your reactions today aren't random personality flaws. They're learned responses. Smart ones. Adaptive ones. When you were younger, you figured out that being quiet kept things stable. Not asking for much avoided tension. Handling things alone prevented disappointment. So your brain did its job. It optimized for emotional survival. The problem is, those lessons didn't expire when you grew up. Your nervous system still treats attention like a risk signal. Not logical danger, emotional danger. That's why, even now, speaking up feels heavier than staying silent. Receiving attention feels uncomfortable instead of rewarding. Rest triggers guilt instead of relief. Success creates pressure instead of safety. This isn't self-sabotage. It's outdated protection. You're using childhood software in an adult environment. Imagine running modern apps on an old phone. Nothing is wrong with the phone. The system just wasn't designed for this load. Same with you. So when people say, just be confident, what they're really saying is, override your threat detection system. Good luck with that. Real change doesn't come from forcing bold behavior. It comes from teaching your body something new through experience. Here's the shift. Confidence isn't the starting point. Safety is. Confidence is the result of repeatedly feeling safe while being seen. That's why affirmations don't stick. You can't talk your body into trust. Trust is built through evidence. Tiny, non-dramatic moments of visibility, without negative consequences, are what rewire this pattern. Not big speeches. Not putting yourself out there. Not emotional cliff jumping. Micro-exposure. Think of it like physical therapy for your nervous system. You wouldn't heal a weak knee by sprinting a marathon. You strengthen it slowly, deliberately, with controlled movements. Emotional visibility works the same way. Each time you share a small opinion without over-explaining. Say no without justification. Let yourself be helped without apologizing. Pause instead of filling silence. Take rest before exhaustion forces it. And nothing bad happens. Your nervous system updates its expectations. Oh, that didn't hurt. Oh, we're still safe. Oh, I don't need to disappear for this. And over time, that inner tension lowers. Here's the important part people miss. Overlooked children often become incredibly productive, not because they're ambitious, but because productivity feels predictable. Effort equals approval. Results equals safety. So work becomes a shield. But productivity without self-permission turns into quiet burnout. You push, but you don't feel proud. You achieve, but you don't feel secure. You rest only when you're forced. That's not discipline. That's self-abandonment with a planner. Real productivity comes from self-trust. And self-trust forms when your body knows you won't punish yourself for slowing down, speaking up, or needing something. Here's a mindset reframe that helps. Instead of asking, is this impressive? Ask, does this help me feel safer and more aligned? Those are different goals. One chases external validation. The other builds internal stability. When safety becomes your baseline, confidence emerges naturally. You speak because there's no internal threat, not because you rehearsed bravery. You set boundaries because your body believes you're allowed to protect your energy. You rest because your worth isn't tied to output. This is why some people seem effortlessly confident. Not because they believe in themselves more, but because their nervous systems aren't constantly bracing. The overlooked child doesn't need a personality upgrade. They need permission, evidence, and repetition. And the good news? Your nervous system is learnable. It updates through experience, not force. Every small moment where you stay present instead of disappearing and nothing breaks, rewrites the rules your body lives by. That's the real work. Not becoming someone else, but finally allowing yourself to exist without armor. Let me walk you through a scene that'll probably feel uncomfortably familiar. You're sitting in a meeting. Not the dramatic kind, just a regular work meeting. Someone asks, does anyone have thoughts on this? Your brain lights up. You do have thoughts. Good ones. You noticed a flaw 5 minutes ago. You even rehearsed a cleaner solution in your head. But before your mouth opens, your body runs its scan. Is this necessary? What if I'm wrong? What if I say too much? What if I make things awkward? So you wait. 2 seconds pass. 3. Then someone else speaks. Loudly. Confidently. Wrong. Everyone nods. Your jaw tightens, but you stay quiet. You tell yourself, it's fine. Not worth it. Later, someone says, you're always so calm. I barely hear you talk in meetings. You smile. The polite one. The practiced one. Now let's rewind. Same setting, different choice. Same question. Any thoughts? You feel that familiar tightening in your chest. But this time, instead of disappearing, you aim small. You speak one sentence. There might be a risk we're overlooking here. And then you stop. No apology. No justification. No essay. The room doesn't freeze. No one interrogates you. No invisible alarm goes off. Someone asks you to explain more. Someone actually listens. After the meeting, you notice something subtle. You're not buzzing with panic. You're not replaying every word like a courtroom transcript. You just feel normal. That moment didn't turn you into a confident person. It did something more important. It gave your nervous system proof. Proof that you can be seen without being exposed. Proof that you can take up a little space without consequences. Proof that you don't have to disappear to stay safe. And those moments, they add up faster than you think. Let's turn this into something you can actually use, without turning your life upside down. No dramatic personality changes. Just small, doable adjustments that teach your nervous system new rules. First, practice low-risk visibility. Not every moment needs bravery. Pick places where the emotional cost is low. Comment on a shared idea. React in a group chat. Offer a thought in a friendly setting. These are training reps, not performance tests. Second, drop the auto-apology. Notice how often you start sentences with sorry. You're not rude, you're conditioned. Pause before speaking. Say the sentence without the apology. Let the silence exist. Nothing bad happens. Third, one small no per day. Not a dramatic boundary. Just a quiet, not today. Declining a plan. Delaying a response. Choosing rest over extra effort. Each small no tells your body, I don't disappear when I protect myself. Fourth, ask without explaining. When you need something, state it once. No backstory. No justification. Can you help me with this? Then stop. Fifth, rest before you're exhausted. Rest isn't a reward for burnout. Take short breaks without earning them. Teach your nervous system that rest is allowed, not dangerous. Sixth, name your needs privately. Before asking others, ask yourself, what do I actually need right now? Clarity builds confidence quietly. These steps aren't about being bold. They're about building trust, slowly, safely, and in ways your body can accept. Do this consistently, and confidence shows up without being forced.